Good evening, America. I'm your host, Alonso, and thank you for tuning in to the first presidential debate live stream. This is sponsored by Ms. Ortega's nonprofit dual enrollment course and Corporate TV News. Tonight we'll be exploring 5 topics tonight, which will be abortion, gun control, the legalization of marijuana, immigration, and the environment. These questions are mine and have not been shared with any of the campaigns. Tonight, I would like to welcome our candidates here, Maria Fernandez representing the Republican Party and Professor Carvalho representing the Democratic Party. Now, I'm honored to be your host, but this is for the candidates, and let's let their voices be heard.
Thank you all for being here this evening. Your support is what keeps us together moving towards a better America. Solutions are needed for the problems we are facing, and I'm here to make sure we win the battle.
Good evening. Most of us know that this country is facing some unprecedented crisis. I want us to unite, to find solutions, and work towards making this country the best it can be. That's what this campaign is about. Thank you.
So to start off, the very first question that we have tonight is on the topic of abortion. There's been much discourse between the American people on this topic since it's super controversial. Companies such as Planned Parenthood were caught on video admitting that they sell the tissues of aborted fetuses, and that was quoted by Dr. Deborah. Now, many people believe that this is an act of murder and would rather treat the fetus more as a product than an actual human being. Others opposing this argument believe that it is of the woman's choice to choose what happens to the child. Senator Fernandez, you say that it is not of the woman's choice to choose the fate of what happens to the child. Isn't that right?
I believe every baby has the right to live. I am pro-life, and I'll put pro-life justices on the court. What if that baby we're aborting turns out to be a genius and could solve world hunger or save the economy? What if Abraham Lincoln and Martin Luther King Jr. were aborted and not given the chance to shine? We are ripping babies from the womb prior to their birth, and that is not okay. We are killing babies, and we have companies like Planned Parenthood taking advantage of it. Abortion is murder.
First, I want to mention that Planned Parenthood denies ever selling fetal tissues. They came out and said that occasionally they let women donate for medical research purposes. Whatever these companies do or don't do does not change the fact that abortion is a woman's choice. We should not let the government make one of the hardest choices a woman has to make for her. We're letting a woman decide what's going to happen with her body and her future, not whether she's going to kill a baby or not. Senator Fernandez doesn't seem to understand how abortion works. When it's inside the womb, it's a fetus, not a baby. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists have conducted experiments and confirmed that a fetus doesn't feel pain until the 3rd trimester, which is 27 weeks.
You can't measure someone else's pain.
Their nervous system isn't developed until the 3rd trimester, so yeah, we can. And Senator Fernandez doesn't want to save lives, she wants to save money.
This is about a baby's life, not money. This is the woman's choice to spread her legs, and everything has consequences, and the baby shouldn't be paying for it.
What about the men's consequences? What about when accidents happen? What about rape?
Well, in those cases, there are rape kits and Plan B.
Okay, we're starting to run out of time on this topic, so we have to keep on going. Now, moving on to the topic of gun control. On the previous tragedy in Las Vegas, leaving 50-plus people killed and over 300 injured, and it has inflicted deep fear into the hearts of those affected by it. Now, in America, we experience 4 to 5 mass shootings a day, and Las Vegas has been considered the biggest mass shooting in the history of the United States. Professor Carvalho, you have been pushing for stricter gun laws for years on end. However, there are pictures of you shooting rifles. Now, this confuses the people on your views a couple years back when you said, and I quote, "Guns should be something everyone should own, if not for protection, then for fun." Now, I understand that many people do support the Second Amendment and believe that it is the only way to protect yourself in case the inevitable would happen. Now, what are your true views on gun control, and what would you do to decrease the risk of gun-related deaths here on the American people?
Well, I was a lot younger, and my brother, who's a trained police officer, was teaching me about gun safety. Yes, I did previously say that, but as the more mass shootings kept happening in the United States, I saw that it was a big issue. I admit I was wrong, and I'm ready to move forward and ready to try and solve this problem. In 2015 alone, there were 372 mass shootings, killing 475 people and wounding 1,870. And most of these mass shootings were at schools. Do more rigorous background checks and close the online and gun show loopholes. As your president, I will make sure that there would be a list of tests and trainings that every gun owner would be required to pass. Here we have over 33,000 gun-related deaths a year. Guns are a problem. Look at Japan. They have over 127 million people. They rarely see over 10 gun-related deaths a year. And that's due to their very strict gun laws. I mean, how can Senator Maria be pro-life but want people to go around killing everybody?
Professor Carvalho is jumping to the conclusion that just because people own guns means that they're going to go around causing shootings. Chicago is one of the states with the most toughest gun laws, and yet it's the state with the most crime in it. Liberals call any law that doesn't work a loophole. Gun shows and online loopholes are common fallacies that are misunderstood. Neither are factual. You can't just buy a gun and have it shipped to your door, and you can't just walk into a gun show and buy a firearm. We already have to do background checks and have a 5-day waiting period. Americans have the right to bear arms. Thomas Jefferson once said, "No man shall ever be debarred to use of arms." Our founding fathers created the Second Amendment for a reason. They wanted us to own guns. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Martin Luther all supported the Second Amendment. People in history that didn't want people to own guns included Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot, Adolf Hitler, and now Professor Carvalho, who herself has mentioned Robert, has supported the Second Amendment.
That's just an invalid personal attack. I never said I wanted to ban guns. I want to have more restrictions and take more precautions so the gun-related deaths and mass shootings can decrease, and that in no way puts me in the same category as Hitler.
Now, Senator Fernandez, I understand that you're a big supporter of the Second Amendment, but I need you to answer the question. What would you do to decrease the risk of gun-related deaths here on the American people?
Considering that guns aren't the problem, we need to do two things. Educate more on guns and increase more security. With more security, these people that want to kill, they won't be going into music festivals and they won't be going into schools. Americans should be allowed to defend themselves from these shooters, a trying government, or an intruder.
Education and increasing security is something I agree with Senator Fernandez on, but I don't think it's enough. Your solution to gun-related deaths is more guns.
There we go again with Professor Carvalho jumping to conclusions.
Now, to move on to the next topic on the legalization of marijuana. There are a lot of people in federal prison, and some over minor cases and some over major ones. A lot of taxpayers' money actually goes into being able to sustain these prisoners inside a prison. Now, in a 2016 crime data report, more people are arrested for marijuana possession than for all crimes the FBI classifies as violent. Professor Carvalho, I know that you've been pushing to legalize this drug nationwide, while Senator Fernandez, I believe that you have been on the side of Richard Nixon on the war on drugs, and you say how drugs are really dangerous for the American people. Now, there are currently medical facilities selling cannabis on an open market for medical purposes, so should we actually allow this drug to become legal nationwide, even if it's helping out the people who have it already?
Actually, Robert, in 2005, Kokens and 70 found that the percent of people in prison for marijuana use is less than 0.5%. Marijuana isn't affecting our prisons, but it is affecting our people. Marijuana is terrible for people's mental and physical health, lowering IQs and causing lung problems. In a study of fatally injured drivers in Washington state, 12.7% tested positive for marijuana. If we legalize this drug, it will increase impaired driving. Marijuana is already the most commonly abused illegal drug around the world. When the government legalized gambling, they became encouraged to promote it. Legalizing this drug will just increase in addiction. There are other well-studied, approved alternatives to treat patients. Marijuana is an addictive gateway drug, and reducing its use is essential to improving the nation's health, education, and productivity.
For starters, I think Senator Fernandez's data is a little misleading and out of date. The government does arrest over 700,000 people due to marijuana every year. And in fact, it's not as addictive as we're being told. Studies report that marijuana dependence is around 9 to 10% in adult users, while cocaine hooks 20%, heroin 25%, and tobacco 30%. Marijuana has 0 reported related deaths, and it's much safer than alcohol. We should legalize it and regulate it.
However, using marijuana will eventually lead to using cocaine and heroin. And we should be combining those numbers. And let's face it, we all know why liberals like Professor Carvalho wants this drug legalized.
Those are inductive arguments. And I would think that since one of candidate Fernandez's main goal is to better the economy, that she would agree with me, because the legalization and taxation of cannabis will produce considerable revenue, and we can put money into advertising the safety and the effects of these drugs. Meanwhile, prohibition directly costs us more than $7.7 billion every year.
I don't find those numbers very credible.
No more. We're starting to run out of time on this topic. We need to keep on going. Now, moving on to our fourth topic, it's the environment and over global warming. Now, over the past 100 years, the average temperature on Earth has increased by 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Remarkably, this is the third consecutive year a new goal annual temperature has been set. Earth's surface temperature in 2016 was the warmest since modern-day record-keeping began in 1880. As president, what specific steps will you do to ensure that your policies will work to fight against global warming and to keep the environment safe for future generations to come?
As president, climate change will be one of my priorities, because how are we supposed to have a great nation with a promising future if there's no planet to sustain it? Climate change is an international crisis, and we need to wake up because human activity is its main cause. Temperature and sea levels keep rising. If elected, I will invest in renewable resources and the promotion of more sustainable diets and lifestyles. I will protect land and water from exploitation.
Now, on the other hand, Senator Fernandez, you and other conservatives have actually come up and said that climate change is not real. Some have even said that it's a hoax created by the Chinese. Now, of course, I would like to know, what contributions would you take to help the environment? What policies do you even plan on even making?
What climate change? They know there is no need to make contributions. Our environment is fine. Global warming is based on faulty science and manipulated data. Scientists' models are unreliable, and so is temperature records. There hasn't been any global warming since 1997. Arctic ice is up to 50% since 2012. Climate change isn't real. Weather changes, it's just the weather. When it's hot, it's just the sun doing its thing. I will not waste my money on climate change. We have bigger, factual issues to focus on. The real issue will be with Professor Carvalho as president, spending our money on myths while trying to save our economy with drug money.
How come you conservatives can accept scientists' research on cancer, Alzheimer, and other illnesses, but you refuse to see the facts right in front of you? Climate change is real, and your arguments have no valid proof, while 97% of climate experts agree that humans are causing climate change.
Now, on to the final question of this night's debate, and this topic will be on immigration. Now, according to the Department of Homeland Security, there are 340 jurisdictions nationwide that work and operate under sanctuary cities. This has resulted in local authorities releasing approximately 1,000 people in prison per month. And now that to me sounds like an outrageous kind of number. And it's actually 2,320 to be exact were arrested after their crimes. When it came before the court, Senator Fernandez and Professor Carvalho were actively pushing against the amendment to have sanctuary cities. Professor Carvalho, you have actively said that Miami jails should not accept illegal aliens that could be deported. Now, just recently, there has been a law that was passed in North Carolina that would ban sanctuary cities. Now, Senator Fernandez, as president, do you believe that sanctuary cities is good for the American public? Do you believe that we should shield those illegals that have felonies on their record?
Obviously, we have major issues with the immigration here in the United States. It's prominent in cities such as Houston, San Diego, Los Angeles, and even in Miami. They all show a high number of immigrants, and it just so happens that these cities are classified as sanctuary cities. Just to quickly touch back on the topic of drugs and the amount of prison inmates, most of the illegal immigrants here are to avoid prosecution from their own country after committing horrible crimes, and all they do here is cause trouble and refuse to make something good out of themselves in the land of opportunity. We'll be spending our taxpayers' money to take care of these illegals while they do their time in prison. Why don't we just send them back and make them apply legally for citizenship if they want to come and live in this country?
Senator Fernandez, the world is not just black or white. Yes, in the past, I voted to repeal the idea of sanctuary cities, but we need to realize that everybody's story is different, and not all of them. In fact, most of them do not wish to do us harm. We have sanctuary cities because people seek safety to escape from tyranny, wars, false accusations, and even sometimes the loss of their homes. Not everyone that comes into this country is a criminal, nor are they just freeloaders living off the government. They are people. They come for better opportunities.
Coming from a person who can't make up their mind, the numbers don't lie, Professor Carvalho. Facts are facts, and it's simple as that. Do you really want to take the risk of having a murderer in such densely populated cities such as Los Angeles and Miami? Criminals don't follow the law. They're criminals. And one bad apple is all it takes to cause chaos, and I am not willing to put my people through that. Our people come first, and I'm here to protect them.
This country was founded by immigrants. There's no such thing as a pure American. That title belongs to the Native Americans that were in this land a long time ago. Then when the Pilgrims came from England, they decided to build on what little there was. They cooperated with the locals and made something big. They built cities and brought a civilization into view. What makes that so different from now?
Well, as this event is starting to come down to a close, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in with us to watch the live stream for the very first presidential debate. And also, this will be the last time that the candidates will see each other till the next one as well. Now, both of you have rarely ever agreed on any of the topics that I have presented to you tonight, and I would like to see how we could end this on a positive note. Just for your closing statements, I would like to know, why should the American people elect you as president?
I want to be your president because I think I have the education and the right statistics to guide this country in the direction it should be going in. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight and watched. I hope I got your vote. I will not disappoint you as president. Thank you.
I would just like to thank you all again. There is much work that needs to be done, and unlike Professor Carvalho, I'm here to focus on what really matters to make America great again.
Thank you, Senator Fernandez. Professor Carvalho, signing off.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel.
What if your audio...
Okay. Sorry. I have 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. So hurry.
No, I don't. Oh my god.
Let's go.
They made something big. So big.
Say big, huge.
They made... Okay, I'm done. This is my last time I'm doing it now.
You can do it.
Was that weird? I said the ending
No.
weird. Okay.
No, you said it so like.
Shut up again. Are you recording me?
No.
No, actually, no. I'm going to go back on that because...
Blah, 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 blah.